My neighbor Justin bought a brand new truck 3 weeks ago. Beautiful thing, $58,000, fully loaded, the works. He was so proud showing it off to everyone on the street. Yesterday, I saw him outside washing it and I asked him, "Hey man, how long you planning to keep this thing?" And he looks at me like I just asked him to solve calculus and goes, "I don't know, man, until it breaks, I guess? Maybe 5 or 6 years?" 5 or 6 years on a 7-year loan with an $847 monthly payment. Here's what Justin doesn't realize. He just made a decision that's going to cost him approximately $127,000 over the next 20 years. Not because the truck costs $127,000, because he has no plan for what happens after the truck. Meanwhile, my friend's dad, who's worth about $4 million, drives a 9-year-old Lexus that he bought used for $22,000. And when I asked him the same question, how long he's planning to keep it, he knew the exact answer. 14 years total. I'm 7 years in, 7 more to go. Then I'll sell it for about $8,000 and buy another 7-year-old Lexus for $25,000. He has the whole thing mapped out. Not just this car. Every major purchase he makes follows the same pattern. And that pattern? It's what I call the 7-year rule. My name is RP, and I spend way too much time thinking about why wealthy people seem to effortlessly build wealth while everyone else stays broke despite working just as hard. If you're someone who feels like you're always buying things but never actually getting ahead, or you're stuck in this endless cycle of payments and replacements and upgrades, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up if this helps you out. Because what I'm about to show you is a financial planning concept that's so simple it sounds stupid, but so powerful that it's probably the difference between you retiring comfortably and you working until you're 75. And here's the thing, nobody talks about this. Not financial advisors, not budgeting apps, not personal finance books. Because it's not sexy, it's not exciting, it's just math. But this math will change your entire financial life. Alright, so here's the 7-year rule in one sentence. Never buy anything major without a clear plan for how you'll use it for at least 7 years and what you'll replace it with when those 7 years are up. That's it. That's the whole rule. Sounds too simple, right? But let me show you why this matters so much. Most people operate on what I call the perpetual payment cycle. They buy a car, finance it for 5 to 7 years, and right around year 4 or 5, when it's paid off or almost paid off, they trade it in for a new one and start the whole payment cycle again. They do the same thing with phones, computers, furniture, everything. They're always making payments on something because they never actually own anything long enough to benefit from the ownership. Wealthy people do the exact opposite. They buy things with the intention of using them for their entire useful life, which for most durable goods is around 7 to 15 years. Then they replace them strategically, often with used items that are 3 to 7 years old. There's research from Thomas Stanley's The Millionaire Next Door showing that 80% of millionaires buy used cars and keep them for an average of 11 years. Meanwhile, the average American buys or leases a new car every 4.5 years. Let me show you what this actually costs you over a lifetime, because when you see these numbers laid out, it's genuinely shocking. Scenario 1, the perpetual payment cycle, which is what most people do. Let's say you buy a new car for $35,000 at age 25. You finance it over 6 years at 6% interest. Your payment is $568 a month. Year 6, the car's paid off. It's worth about $14,000, but it's starting to have some issues, and all your friends are driving newer cars, so you trade it in. You buy another $35,000 car, another 6-year loan, another $568 a month. You repeat this cycle every 6 years for 40 years. Total cars purchased, 7. Total amount spent on cars, $245,000. Total interest paid, $63,000. Lifetime car cost, $308,000. Scenario 2, the 7-year rule, which is what wealthy people do. At age 25, you buy a 3-year-old car for $18,000 in cash, or you save up for it over 2 years while driving a beater. You drive this car for 14 years. You maintain it well, it's boring but reliable. At year 14, you sell it for $3,000. You take that $3,000 plus $15,000 you've been saving and buy another 3-year-old car for $18,000. You repeat this cycle every 14 years for 40 years. Total cars purchased, 3. Total amount spent on cars, $54,000. Total interest paid, $0. Lifetime car cost, $51,000. The difference? $257,000. But wait, it gets better, because what if you invested that $568 a month you weren't spending on car payments? Over 40 years at 8% returns, that $568 a month becomes $2,014,000. $2 million just from changing how you buy cars. Now, you might be thinking, but RP, I don't want to drive the same car for 14 years. That sounds miserable. And this is where we need to talk about the psychology, because this is really the core issue. Most people buy things based on how they feel in the moment. They see a new car and their brain lights up with dopamine. They imagine themselves driving it. They imagine what people will think. They feel successful. But here's the thing, that feeling lasts about 3 weeks, maybe 3 months if you're lucky. There's research from the University of British Columbia showing that the happiness boost from a new car purchase returns to baseline within 12 weeks. 12 weeks! And then you're stuck with 6 years of payments for a feeling that lasted 3 months. Wealthy people understand this. They don't buy things for the dopamine hit. They buy things as tools that serve a specific function for a specific period of time. A car is a tool that transports you safely from point A to point B. If a 7-year-old Honda Accord does that job just as well as a brand new BMW, the Honda is the correct choice, because the BMW is consuming resources you could be deploying toward wealth building. Alright, so here's the 7-year rule in your life. Let me give you the exact framework. Step 1. Identify your major purchase categories. These are typically vehicles, electronics, computers, phones, tablets, appliances, refrigerator, washer, dryer, furniture, and home improvements if you own. For each category, answer these questions. What is the useful life of this item? Be realistic. Most things last 7 to 15 years with proper maintenance. What will it cost to buy this item 3 to 5 years used instead of new? How much do I need to save monthly to pay cash for the replacement when the time comes? What will I do with the item when I'm done with it? Sell it, donate it, recycle it? Let me give you a concrete example with a laptop. Useful life, 7 years. Cost of 2-year-old model, $800. Monthly savings needed, $800 divided by 84 months, $9.50 a month. End of life, sell for $100, donate to school, or recycle. That's it. You save $10 a month for 7 years. When year 7 hits, you have $840. You sell your old laptop for $100. You now have $940 to buy your next laptop. Step 3. Create your replacement fund. This is the game changer. You need a separate savings account that's specifically for replacing major purchases. Here's what goes into it. $568 per month if you're not making a car payment, or whatever you'd be paying. $40 per month for electronics replacement, $30 per month for appliances, and whatever else applies to your situation. That money sits in a high-yield savings account earning interest. When something needs replacing, you have the cash. Let me talk about the thing that destroys this plan for most people, the upgrade cycle. Tech companies have specifically engineered upgrade cycles to make you feel like your perfectly functional device is obsolete. Apple releases a new iPhone every year. Your current iPhone works perfectly fine, but they've convinced you that you need the new camera, the new processor, the new whatever. Here's the reality. The functional difference between an iPhone that's 1 year old and an iPhone that's 4 years old is almost nothing for 95% of users. A study from Consumer Reports found that smartphones have a useful life of about 4 to 5 years before they genuinely start having performance issues, but the average person upgrades every 2.5 years. Why? Because of manufactured obsolescence and brilliant marketing. The same thing happens with cars, computers, everything. Companies create the perception that you need to upgrade far more frequently than you actually do. Let me show you how a wealthy person actually makes a major purchase decision, because it's completely different from how most people do it. Most people see thing they want. Can I afford the monthly payment? If yes, buy it. Figure out the rest later. Wealthy people, do I actually need this, or do I just want it? What is the total cost of ownership over its useful life? Not just purchase price, maintenance, insurance, opportunity cost. Can I buy it used for 40 to 60% less? How long will I use it? What's my plan for replacement when the time comes? Does this purchase align with my wealth-building goals? If all answers check out, save up and buy it in cash. Notice the difference? Wealthy people are thinking 7 to 14 years into the future. Most people are thinking 30 days into the future. Now, look, there are some exceptions to the 7-year rule. I'm not dogmatic about this. Exception 1. Income-generating assets. If something directly generates income and a newer version would generate significantly more income, the math might support more frequent upgrades.
Like if you're a video editor and a $3,000 computer upgrade would allow you to work 30% faster and take on more clients, that might be worth doing every 4 to 5 years instead of 7. But, and this is important, it needs to genuinely generate more income, not just make your current work slightly more convenient. Exception 2. Safety critical items. If something is genuinely a safety issue, don't cheap out. Car seats for kids, helmets, certain medical equipment. Safety first. Exception 3. Items you use extensively every day. If you use something 4+ hours every day and it significantly impacts your quality of life or productivity, it might be worth upgrading more frequently. But again, this is the exception, not the rule. Most people claim their purchases fall into these categories when they really don't. Here's where this gets really interesting. When you apply the 7-year rule to every major purchase category, the numbers become absolutely insane. Let's say you implement the 7-year rule for cars, save $568 a month by not having a payment, phones, save $50 a month by keeping phones 4 years instead of 2, computers, save $30 a month by keeping them 7 years instead of 3, furniture, save $100 a month by buying quality used and keeping it 15 years, total monthly savings $748. If you invest that $748 per month for 30 years at 8% returns, you end up with $1,098,000. $1 million just from being strategic about when and how you replace things. But here's what most people don't realize. The 7-year rule isn't really about the specific number 7. It's about the mindset shift from constant consumption to strategic ownership. When you adopt this rule, you stop thinking about purchases as isolated events and start thinking about them as part of a long-term system. You stop, can I afford this, and start asking, what is this actually costing me in terms of my long-term wealth? You stop being reactive, my car died, I need to buy one today, and start being proactive, my car is 7 years old, I should start saving for replacement in year 10. This shift is worth more than any specific dollar amount, because once you start thinking this way, you make better decisions about everything. All right, here's exactly what to do this week. Day 1. Take inventory. List every major item you own: vehicles, electronics, appliances, major furniture. For each one, write down when you bought it, how much it cost, and how much longer you plan to keep it. Day 2. Calculate replacement costs. For each item, research what it would cost to replace with a 3 to 5-year-old version when the time comes. Day 3. Set up your replacement fund. Open a separate high-yield savings account. Calculate how much you need to save monthly for each category. Set up automatic transfers. Day 4. Make the commitment. This is the hard part. Commit to the 7-year rule for your next major purchase. Whatever it is, car, phone, computer, commit to keeping it for at least 7 years. Look, I know this isn't sexy. I know it's not exciting to think about keeping your car for 14 years or your phone for 4 years. But you know what is exciting? Having $1 million extra in retirement because you made smart decisions about durable goods. You know what's exciting? Never having a car payment for the last 30 years of your working life. You know what's exciting? Being in control of your financial future instead of being controlled by an endless cycle of payments and upgrades. The 7-year rule is one of those things that's hiding in plain sight. Wealthy people do this naturally because they understand that wealth isn't built by having the newest stuff, it's built by keeping the old stuff longer and investing the difference. You can keep chasing the dopamine hit of new purchases every few years and stay broke forever, or you can adopt the 7-year rule, feel slightly less excitement in the short term, and build actual wealth in the long term. Your choice. If this helped you out, make sure to subscribe because I break down obscure wealth-building strategies like this every week. And drop a comment telling me the first purchase you're committing to the 7-year rule with. I want to hear what you're working on. All right, I'll see you in the next one.